Hello, in this video I'm going to show you price predictions for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So this is a one-day graph for Bitcoin, and straight off the bat I can see a couple of chart patterns right here. The first one I see is inverse head and shoulders. So let me just draw this out. So from here you can see that this is the left shoulder, the head, this is the right shoulder, and if this breaks through, then this will create another potential leg upward. So how I like to try and predict these upward price movements, especially after a huge pullback, I like to use the Fibonacci retracement, and it just helps gives you potential support and resistance lines. So to find the Fibonacci retracement tool, it's right here, and you click it and you go down to Fib retracement and you just click it. And how you use it is you go from an extreme high to an extreme low. So here I pull it back like this. And usually when you use Fibonacci retracements, the more data you gather in your Fib retracement, the better these support and resistance lines are. So the smaller data that you use to go from extreme high to extreme low, it'll be less reliable for those major support and resistance lines. But as you can see here, when I drew this out, after this huge pullback from the January bull run, it had a nice 70% pullback, something like that. So that's why I drew this Fibonacci retracement from this high to this low. So as right when I draw it, you can see that it gives you this 0.786, and this is a major resistant line. As you can see here, as the price approached it pulled back really hard once it hit this Fib level, and it did it again here. So this right here, this is actually an extreme resistant line. Since the price is below it, it has to break through that for it to carry upward. So I just like to draw a horizontal line like that, and I usually just do, I'll just leave it that color. So that's a potential resistance line right here. And if it breaks, I expect it to kind of shoot off more. Another potential one is right here, and it's not too much. There's no candles that are really hitting it. This one's at a really important Fib line so far. And then I like to go to the next one, and as you can see, the 0.5 Fib level, this is a major support or resistance line. As you can see, it pulled back and it supported, and then it finally broke this Fib and it pulled back. So this is the actual important Fib line, just looking at the chart. So I'll put another line right here, and this just gives you potential resistance lines as this price moves upward. The next one is right here, and this is also a pretty important Fib level. And as you can see, this Fib right here, the 0.382, is a very important resistance line or support line. So as you can see, it consolidated here, and then it finally broke below this, and then as it went up, it used it as resistance, and now it's actually using it as resistance right now. And it might have just popped up right above it, which is positive if we're going long on Bitcoin. So I'll put another line right there. And as you can tell, it's pretty crazy how this works, how you can potentially predict this point resistance lines, because right here, as you can see, as it pulled back, it hit the 0.236 Fib line, and it used it as support, and then it used it as support here. So this is also a really important Fib line. And you could actually, when this wasn't here, and if you're trying to look for an entry, you could have seen this inverse head and shoulders, and then as the price was right here, you could plan to go long down here, which is what I did. I went long right here, and I'm in this trade. So I'll see if this breaks through, and if it does, I'll later on in this video I'll show you how I there's a few ways to be able to predict this breakout. So yeah, that's how I use the fib retracement line, and as you can tell, when I did that, it gave pretty accurate support and resistance lines, pretty good, as you can see right here, right here, right here, and right here. So as this thing moves up, these will be the major support and resistance lines, most likely. Another tool I like to use is, okay, yeah, and another pattern that I also see is an Adam and Eve pattern, which is right here. And so to give you a price prediction for an Adam and Eve pattern, I also use the fib retracement line, and I use this right shoulder to predict the potential leg that might happen once it breaks above this horizontal resistance level. So I just like to go right here and pull it back down here, and usually a conservative, so when I drew that out, it gives you these price potential resistance lines as this moves up, and usually a conservative one is the 1.618 fib line, and that's right here, that's right there. And as you can see, this is kind of messy right here, but there is a support resistant line, like a big resistance line somewhere in here, and it is close to the 0.5 fib line, and so that's where your like a more conservative price prediction would be, which is at 13,500 from this price over here. So yeah, so if you're in this trade, I went in here, and then I'd be looking for potential exits right here at 13,500, and I might put some short positions, and I'll show you why on another chart pretty soon. The reason why I might short Bitcoin as a hedge for my main portfolio. I'll give you that reason. It's because actually I'll just show you later on in the video. I'll just give you a price prediction on here, and a few ways for you to do that. So that's the first way, this Adam and Eve pattern, and then you do this fib retracement, and then it gives you price prediction right here. Another tool I like to combine it with is this MMAR tool, and it, oh, not this one. I think it's the BPVR. Sometimes it takes a little while to load. But what it is, it gives you this volume profile for the y-axis. So at the price of 5,600, this is an important resistance or support line, since a lot of people trade at that level. And then another important support or resistance line is right here. It's 7,000, and then the next one up is 8,000, and then this one right here is at 10,000 and 11,000. That's also a major support or resistance lines, and usually these volume profiles match up with these fib line, as you can see here. So this perfectly matches with the 0.382, and this line not so much, but it's a little bit close here, so it's not an exact match, but for some of these it's pretty incredible. The 0.5 closely matches with this spike in volume, and the 0.786 also has a nice increase in volume profile. So that also, you can combine this volume y-axis profile with these potential fib lines, and then it gives you kind of some more evidence that these are important resistance and support line. And as you can see right now, we might have broken through one, and what happens when it breaks through one of these like where people trade a lot at this volume, and there's not that much trading volume in between here, usually the price usually jumps up. So it goes from like 11,300, and then it jumps up to 13,500, which was the exact same price as the Adam and Eve price projection at the 1.618 fib line. So it's actually pretty cool how you use multiple tools, and then it gives you the same answers, and you actually use some data from from volume, which is actually one of the most important things when you're trading is an increase in volume. And so yeah, that's my price prediction for the short term. And so it's either 13,000 or 13,500, and then I think there'll be a pullback. Where that pullback will be, it will be kind of we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So it'll probably go to the 0.618 fib line and then pull back from there, or the 0.5. So somewhere in here, I'll have my I'll be selling from 13,100 all the way to like 14,500, and if it doesn't reach that, then I'll just move these sell orders a bit down just so they get just so they hit for sure, because that'd be pretty good profit target. I entered around here, so that'd be about a 42% profit rate on that trade, and I have a pretty small stop loss. So I usually always have it less than 5%. And if I using leverage, it's usually way less, like 1 to 1.5% if I'm using leverage usually. So we'll see how this trade goes. When the price goes here, I'll see what the market conditions are and whether or not there's a huge spike in the Bitcoin volume. If I don't see that huge spike in volume, and it's pretty low volume with this leg, I'll probably be considering shorting more seriously. I just need more data just to see what happens. So it's pretty cool, yeah. So I expect this price to jump up now and then hit somewhere up here, and then I might be hedging my portfolio by shorting Bitcoin, but that depends on the volume. So another good chart to look at is the 1 month, and as you can see here, this candlestick is really bullish actually. I think this is called like a dragonfly candle, and this is actually exactly what you want to see. Is as if you see a candle like this, it means that the price went down super low, and then people bought it back up here. So when the price broke down here, people thought this was largely undervalued, and a lot of people bought back in to push this candlestick a little bit to look like this pattern. So like the price entered here, went all the way down here, and then it's stopped out here, and then this is kind of like a continuation candle that this might this might be able just to carry on like that. But it's still pretty early to say. This could have just been a huge pullback, and just for the correction of this huge crazy spike that happened in January of 2018, and it just needed a correction just for the market to sort itself. But right now it looks really bullish on the 1 month, which is what you want to see. The 1 day also looks good. That's what I like to use. I usually like to use 4-hour 1 day charts. I usually try and stay away from the smaller time frames just because it's not as reliable. I just like using bigger time frame. I find them way more consistent, and you see the bigger picture more instead of looking at the 5 minute, and it can really drive you crazy a little bit. But you can use the smaller time frames when it's crazy high volume. You do see patterns all the time in here that you can use to trade off. But I usually don't do that kind of trading. Usually swing trading is the most successful for me. So yeah, that's Bitcoin, and then I'll show you another chart of reason why I might be shorting here to hedge against a declining crypto market. I am still agnostic whether or not this can just break through here and then continue going up, but it's a real possibility. So this is another chart I just kind of drew out, and this is a Bitcoin fractal from 2013, and this was before the price went all the way to 1,000. This is like at the pump that took it to like 100, and then it kind of settled there, and then it went to 1,000, which is what I think this market will do, just because it's I have a feeling that there's a lot more money that's going to come into this market as the regular markets start to go down. So when you look at the S&P 500, and this is why it's important to look at global trends as well, not just crypto charts. So I'll pull up a chart for the S&P 500 and show you a possible hypothesis of why I think crypto will be going up. So as you can see, this is the S&P 500, and what it is just an accumulation of America's largest companies, and it puts it in an index for you. So when you look at this chart, this is the 2000 bubble right here. This is the 2008 housing bubble, whatever, and then it collapsed. And then there's quantitative easing, and this is what kind of got out of that recession, and it kind of just delayed it a little bit more. So this, if you thought the 2008 financial crisis was bad, the one coming up will be, I think, drastically way worse than we had in the past, which is kind of scary. But we could have hit a top right here. We'll see what happens. Right now, it's looking pretty bearish for the S&P 500. I can see this going down way more. Whether or not this is the start of the regular markets crashing, I don't know. But it's something that I did hypothesize when I think I hypothesized that back here 2017. So I guess the price is going to go to like 3,000 and then pull back, but it was a little bit earlier than that, like 2,887. So this is why I have a feeling that the money in the normal markets might flow into crypto, just because it's a hedge against the normal financial markets potentially. It could be something kind of equivalent to silver and gold. So if you do think with the interest rates increasing, it's going to be harder for businesses to borrow money and keep these stock prices inflated. So a lot of companies just borrow money, and then they use up borrowed money to buy their own shares to push up the price. And they're just kind of creating this. This is what happens when you have too low interest rates for too long of a period, and when those banks will increase interest rates, then businesses won't be able to borrow money so cheap and buy their own shares, and that kind of dries up, and you'll probably see a drastic pullback. I wouldn't be surprised if it pulls back 50% or 70 to 80% down here, and then you see the recovery. But yeah, that's S&P 500, and that's why I'm kind of more bullish with Bitcoin, and that it could potentially do that, and that's why it's kind of important to look at the macro scale. So this is the Bitcoin fractal, yeah, from 2013. And what happened in 2013 is that it pulled back 71%, which is exactly what happened on this pullback, and then it went up on 124%. So this uptick could still go up here, and then I see a big pullback down here, and then you think like a false breakout, and then it kind of goes back down to 6,000, goes up, ranges for a little bit, and then continues up. This is the exact time frame, so I think this will be much faster than how I put it out here, but it kind of gives you a general idea of the price action that it could do. I could see this happening, but if this goes up here to 13,000, and again, this is and why I put my projection is this is the Bitcoin fractal matches the 13,000 price to 13,500 price target as well, and this is why I might do a short position. because it did this in the past, and markets just take time after a huge pullback to, like, they usually just don't continue going up like that. Usually it takes some time to, as it consolidate and gain momentum again, and increase the price. But if it does kind of do this thing where it just goes down and then continues breaking through, going up in more of a hyperbolic way, then it could do that. So it could just come up here, break 13,000, and then use that as support, and then continue going up. But if it doesn't do that, it could just go to 13,000 or 13,500, and then pull back. I think it was 30%, and then do kind of another like false breakout, and then go down to 6,000. So I might do a short from, might have short entries at like 13,500. I think it will spike a little bit because people get excited. And then from here, I'll have a short position. Short, so I might be entering here 13,500. I'll have my stop at like 2% or something. I'll try and get it as high on the spike, and then I'll write it down to 8,500 for like potential like 35% gain as it goes down, and then I'll close my short and then go long, and then try and get this spike, and then go short, and then go down here. So I'll see if those trades work. That'd be pretty cool if it does. But if it does break through, I also have another plan to. So I'm okay since I have a pretty short stop. I won't lose that much money, and if it does go up, I'll make way more money in my normal crypto portfolio than the money I lost trying to hedge it against with shorting Bitcoin. So yeah, that's my Bitcoin price prediction for the short term. And if it does break through here, the price will jump up to 20,000 pretty easy. And then if it breaks 20,000, then I'll do, if I want to project it going up, do this. If I just break it, 30,000 is pretty conservative, and it could go to like 50,000 in maybe this year, or 42, but probably 50,000. You see it just kind of breaking through there, and just from euphoria, and then it kind of collapses all the way back down to like 20,000. So is this how markets grow? It's going to be super volatile like that, and you can make money going up or down. So we'll see what happens. So and this is also some other Bitcoin charts. So this one is the total volume of Bitcoin traded. So it's spiked up to 4 billion per day, the volume for Bitcoin, and then now it's at 1.2 billion. So you kind of want to, you do want to see this volume pick up again if you want to see the sustained Bitcoin price, and you don't see that right now, but it could come around soon in the next month or so. You could see it climbing back up. The next one is the number of confirmed transactions. So the transactions did confirm was the most in 2018 of January, and 2017 in December this week, and then it is tanked down to 177,000 transactions per day. So you want to see this take up as well. This could be the bottom, but it could just continue down. So we'll see what happens from there. And this is Bitcoin dominance chart, and right now I expect Bitcoin's dominance to start to increase back to 50 to 60%, and then start going down again. And then as Bitcoin does its rise, the altcoins I think may suffer and may decrease in price. So right now I'm kind of more heavy into Bitcoin, and as Bitcoin approaches this dominance level, like between 50 and 60, I'm going to then start dumping money into the altcoin market again. So that's what I'm planning, and I'll show you how I'm going to be timing that. And one of the bigger altcoins is Ethereum. So I like to use the Ethereum BTC pair to try and predict when this switch from Bitcoin running back to the alts. What can also happen is the alts run with Bitcoin, but from previously I've seen Bitcoin rise and then the alts follow shortly after. So I'm still going to use that hypothesis for now. But I'm also in a lot of altcoins just in the long term. So when I go to the ETH chart, which is up here, I like to do, first I use the Bitcoin ETH chart, and I'll do the 1 day. I'll do this one. Yes, it was this one. So here you can see that this is Ethereum and Bitcoin pair. Not too sure why this is here. Let's hide it. And it's in a big channel. So this is from 2015, and I'm using the 1 day chart, and this is to 2018 to now, and it's in this kind of oscillating wave motion right now, and it goes to the bottom, goes to the top, and then does the same thing over again. So right now what I'm expecting to happen is that this will then touch the bottom of this channel, and so what I'm guessing is that as Bitcoin goes up, the ETH BTC pair will go down. So Bitcoin will go up, and then the ETH BTC pair, since Bitcoin's going up, but the Ethereum to USD is just staying the same, or it could even go up, but since Bitcoin is going up way more, Ethereum will look like it's going down when you do the Bitcoin Ethereum chart. So right now Bitcoin's going up, Ethereum BTC pair, it should go down, and I think it will touch or be somewhere around here of this channel, and then as Bitcoin reaches like 13,000 or 13,500, 14,000, somewhere in here, Ethereum will then start to, it will switch. Bitcoin could potentially price go down since it went up so much, and people start taking profits into Bitcoin, and they might then send their money to Ethereum and other altcoins during that switch. So I'll see what happens here, but that's how I'm going to kind of time when to exit Bitcoin, is when wherever Bitcoin is up here, and then I'll use the ETH BTC pair, and if it's close to here, I'll start exiting Bitcoin and potentially entering into the altcoins, depending on like the volume profile that I see with Bitcoin, and if there's a big increase in the number of transactions. So that's my plan. So right now I expect Ethereum to go down here, and then so I'll do a Ethereum USD price prediction. So Ethereum is also looking pretty good in the ETH USD. It just doesn't look so good in the ETH BTC chart. So I also like to use Ichimoku Cloud. So Ichimoku Cloud is not really telling me too much. It's more in a consolidation phase right now. So right now, it's more useful to use like chart patterns right now, and I see an Adam and Eve pattern that we saw with Bitcoin, and then I drew this downtrend, So if ETH breaks through this downtrend, that's pretty bullish. It means that it will probably continue going up. So as Bitcoin is going up, ETH might also go up, but just not as much as Bitcoin. So the ETH BTC chart looks like it's going down. So right now, yeah. So right now it's kind of game three of what you think will happen. That's my hypothesis so far, because I think ETH will go up way more than or Bitcoin, sorry, will go up way more than ETH. So, and then the switch will happen. Then ETH will just go up, and Bitcoin will go down as ETH and else potentially go up. So right now I'd use my fib level again, and this is the Adam and E pattern, the 1.618, and the price target for here would be 1100 from down here at 867. So that's a pretty good price. That's about 27% gain. So that would be pretty good. And then from there, it could potentially touch a support level, like resistance level broke down, and then it could potentially use it as support somewhere here, maybe on this cloud right here. I'll explain the Fibonacci another time. I'll just use more technical analysis, other different kinds of technical analysis. So that's what I think Bitcoin can do. It'll probably break through here pretty soon, and another run. If it doesn't, it could just stall here and then continue on this downtrend. So that's it for this video. Thank you for joining, and if you're looking for any more tips, just go to www.globalcryptopix.com, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Just send us an email or a message and we'll get back right to you. So have a good day, and thank you for watching.